From Fox 5 New York, this is Good Day Weekend.
Our top story this morning, the U.S. joining Israel's fight against Iran. President Trump addressed the nation last night after American forces bombed Iranian nuclear sites. Iran now promising retaliation. Fox News correspondent Rebecca Castor has more.
President Trump planned to decide whether to hit Iran's nuclear sites within 2 weeks. Instead, he struck just 2 days later.
A wave of missiles targeting Israel, retaliation from Iran for American strikes on its nuclear facilities.
Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
Using bunker buster bombs and Tomahawk missiles, U.S. military forces struck 3 Iranian nuclear sites, including one buried deep inside a mountain.
Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror.
My country has been under attack, under aggression, and we have to respond.
President Trump warned of more attacks if Tehran does not negotiate a peace deal.
We will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill.
The president monitored the strikes from the Situation Room alongside Vice President J.D. Vance and senior advisors. In Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu praised President Trump's decision.
President Trump and I often say, peace through strength. President Trump and the United States acted with a lot of strength.
But there are fears this could spark a broader regional war, and some lawmakers are questioning the president's authority to order the strikes.
The only entity that can take this country to war is the U.S. Congress.
Before the attack, the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem started organizing evacuation flights for Americans wanting to leave Israel. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
New York Republican Congressman Mike Lawler, who is chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Subcommittee on the Middle East, spoke out in support of the strikes. He says Iran had 60 days to negotiate the end of the nuclear program, but failed to do so. He says that left the president with few other options because allowing Iran to develop nuclear weapons would be too dangerous.
Threat of a nuclear Iran would destabilize not just the Middle East, but the entire world. The president, in my estimation, had the authority to strike here. Obviously, we have not declared war, but the president took necessary action to eliminate the threat of a nuclear Iran. And through AUMFs, as well as Article 2, I do believe the president had the authority to act.
Lawler says he believes ultimately the strikes will help achieve peace and prosperity in the Middle East. Tensions have soared across the Middle East since the October 7th attack on Israel, with pressure increasing over the last few weeks. Fox 5's Richard Giacobis breaks down how things got to this point.
On the 9th day of the Israel-Iran conflict, the U.S. joins the fight as tensions between the three nations have now hit a boiling point. But how did we get here? Let's go back to June 13th, Israel announcing it launched preemptive airstrikes against Iran in an effort to destroy its nuclear program. Nuclear and military sites, top generals, and nuclear scientists all targeted. At the time, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu calling the surprise attack Operation Rising Lion, saying Israel had to rise and act first.
This operation will continue for as many days as it takes to remove this threat.
A day later, Iran fires back with new missile attacks in parts of the country, including Tel Aviv. 10 people are killed in an attack of Bat Yam, a neighborhood in the outskirts of Tel Aviv. On June 16th, Israeli fighter jets begin striking a new series of targets in Iran after reportedly hitting about 100 overnight, including missile storage sites, missile launchers, and command centers. This comes after Iran fires 65 ballistic missiles at Israeli cities. The bombings between the two nations going back and forth for days, then entering its second week. The Israeli military saying it had taken out a significant number of Iranian nuclear and military sites by then, but they had not yet been able to hit a major underground nuclear facility. And that's where the U.S. would come in with its Air Force B-2 bombers and use its bunker buster bombs to take it out. President Donald Trump had been threatening to join the fight, but also told Iran that he wanted to make a deal. Earlier this week, Trump had said he would give Iran 2 weeks to negotiate.
The
They should have done the deal. I told them, do the deal. So I don't know. I'm not too much in a mood to negotiate.
Now the United States has joined the conflict with Iran, and that nation vows retaliation. Richard Giacovis, Fox 5 News.
He's the symbol of the recent unrest at Columbia University, and now Mahmoud Khalil is once again with his family. Sharon Crowley was also there and has more on Khalil's return.
Pushing his newborn baby in a stroller and holding on to his wife, Mahmoud Khalil arrived back at Newark Airport to a crowd of cheering supporters.
How do you feel, sir?
Feeling great. Khalil, a Columbia University graduate student, has been in an ICE detention facility in Louisiana since his arrest in March. The Trump administration made the move after Khalil led campus protests against Israel's war against Hamas in Gaza. Israel striking Gaza in retaliation for the October 7th attacks.
I will continue to protest with every one of you, not only if they threaten me with detention, even if they would kill me, I would still speak up for Palestine.
A federal judge allowing the Columbia University graduate student to be released Friday on bail pending the outcome of his ongoing case. The Trump administration continuing to fight to have him deported. They have accused Khalil of siding with terrorists.
Mahmoud Khalil was imprisoned for 104 days.
Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez joined Khalil and his legal team. She says Khalil was unlawfully arrested.
By this administration, by the Trump administration, with no grounds and for political reasons. Because Mahmoud Khalil is an advocate for Palestinian human rights, he has been accused baselessly of horrific allegations simply because the Trump administration and our overall establishment disagrees with his political speech.
While the Trump administration may be fighting Khalil's release, his supporters are planning a welcome home rally for Sunday. Sharon Crowley, Fox 5 News.
Don't go away. We'll be right back with a look at what you missed on the noon this week. Welcome back to Good Day Weekend. I'm Lisa Evers. Here's a look at your Sunday forecast. Today, much of the area will be under an excessive heat warning starting today at noon, and that's going to last until 8 p.m. Tuesday. Also starting today, temperatures will be in the mid-90s and could start to feel like well over 100 as the week begins. Summer has officially started, and with all of your outdoor activities, it's important to protect your skin from the sun. Earlier this week, a doctor joined our Antoine Lewis on the noon to provide some helpful sunscreen tips for the season.
So many sunscreens are out there, it's hard to know which product is best for you. But to help break it all down for us is board-certified plastic surgeon Dr. Smita Ramanathan. Thank you for joining us. My first question, this one always confuses me. SPFs, some have 15, some have 103, which is an exaggeration, but talk about the SPFs and what we need to know.
It can get a little confusing. So SPF is sun protection factor. So it essentially tells us how well the sunscreen is going to protect us from getting a sunburn. The key number is 30. So we want an SPF at least 30. That will block at least 97% of the UV rays, so it'll really protect us. But we also have to reapply it often. So every 2 hours is the recommendation.
Now, here's the thing. I've had this conversation with friends of mine. You know, I'm of color. A lot of people of color seem to think like, no, I don't need that. That is not the case.
That is not the case. My mom is one of them. That is not the case. So every skin tone needs sun protection, even when it's raining and cloudy like it is today.
When it comes to products, what should we look for? I know zinc oxide is a popular one.
Yeah, so there's two categories of sunscreens. There's the chemical sunscreens and the physical sunscreens. The physical, that's your zinc oxide, titanium dioxide, that sits on the surface of your skin and almost acts like a shield, blocking that UV radiation.
Okay. So definitely get products that have that in it.
Yeah, so mineral sunscreens are going to be the best for sensitive skin. Those ingredients are very clean, and so, you know, if you're going to pick a sunscreen, use that, especially in children, for their sensitive skin.
Okay. As far as applications, you know.
Yes.
There's no hair here, so can we address that?
Yes. So scalp, we can't forget to protect our scalp, lips, eyes. That's why we have sunglasses here, lip balm with sunscreen. But we also want to look at the products, aerosol versus rollers. I know a lot of people like the rollers, the lotion. So the quantity of sunscreen that we apply is going to be important. So for the aerosol, which is very popular, hold it near your skin, apply until your skin's wet, then rub it in. With a normal sunscreen, you want at least 2 finger lengths for your face or a shot glass for your body. So the quantity is very important when applying as well.
Now let's talk about the kids, because a lot of times we think, oh, we just let them go out and play and shovel and things, but no, they need it also.
They need it also, and their skin probably needs it more just because it is so sensitive and young. So, I always recommend a rash guard, hat, sunglasses for children. Stick with the mineral sunscreens as well.
What are some of the mistakes people make, that you can just think of in conversations you've had in regards to sunscreen?
Yeah, I think the biggest mistake is thinking that the sunscreen, the SPF in your makeup or moisturizer is enough. You definitely need an additional standalone sunscreen. Also, when it's raining outside or snowing, or even if you're not leaving the house, a lot of people think you don't need sunscreen, but you're getting the UV exposure through windows. So always get in the habit, brush your teeth, throw on your sunscreen.
And like time of year, like even in the fall and even in the winter?
Yes. All year round, 365 days a year.
All right, Dr. Smita Ramanathan, thank you so much for being with us and for all of those tips.
We'll be right back with a look at what you missed this week on the 6 o'clock news. But first, let's take a look at the weather for the week ahead. Welcome back to Good Day Weekend. I'm Lisa Evers. Here's a look at your Sunday forecast. Today, much of the area will be under an excessive heat warning starting today at noon. That's going to last until 8 p.m. Tuesday. Starting today as well, temperatures will be in the mid-90s and could start to feel like well over 100 as the week begins. The New York primary is this Tuesday. It will be the second time voters will choose a candidate using ranked choice voting in a mayoral primary. Natasha Verma was joined by political expert Ben Max to give us a refresher on how the process works.
When New Yorkers go to the polls, what do they need to know about ranked choice voting?
Well, just a few things really, but let me just say quickly that ranked choice voting is only part of primary elections like we're having this month, and it won't be at play in the general election. Now, before getting into the details, the other key piece to know here is that the idea of ranked choice voting is to ensure that the winner has broad support. So very likely to win a ranked choice election, you have to have a lot of first place votes and then also be ranked by a lot of voters on their ballots, either second, third, fourth, or fifth. So the key thing for voters to know going into the voting booth is for each city office, voters can rank up to 5 candidates on their primary ballots, but you don't have to. You can rank 1 candidate or up to 5. But if you are ranking, you must select the match for the candidate with the rank position. And it's pretty obvious on your ballot how to do that, but you have to look carefully.
There is a strategy to this. Explain round by round how that works and how voters can strategize the way that they're voting.
Sure. So in any of these primaries, if one candidate gets more than 50% of the first place votes, then it's over. That's it. But if no candidate does, which is very likely in some of these large fields, like we're seeing in the Democratic primary for mayor with 9 competitive candidates and even more on the ballot, then it goes to the instant runoff, where candidates who have the fewest first place votes are eliminated, and those voters' votes are redistributed to other candidates that are on those voters' ballots. So as soon as one candidate gets eliminated, the machines quickly scan those voters' ballots and move those votes to the other candidates listed at the top of those voters' ballots.
Okay, interesting. And 4 years ago, critics said that this process was a bit of a mess. How did ranked choice voting play out back then?
Well, we had a couple issues back in 2021 in the first citywide go here. One is, and this is still the case, that the Board of Elections must wait for all of the absentee and mail votes to come in before they do the ranked choice runoff, because you can't tabulate this instant runoff and all the moving of votes to voters' second and third choices until you have all the ballots in that you're counting. So voters and the public really have to have some patience here. We won't know the winner of the Democratic primary for mayor probably until about a week or so after primary. The second thing is that the Board of Elections made a big mistake last time and incorrectly ran the instant runoff, and hopefully they won't make that mistake again.
Okay, really quickly before we go, we're learning that for the second time, Mamdani is cross-endorsing. Last week, he announced he's doing it with Brad Lander, now with Michael Blake. How could this strategy help benefit them in dethroning Andrew Cuomo?
Well, we saw in 2021 the immense importance of voters being strategic about who they rank where and not exhausting their ballots. If you want to be a strategic voter, you should vote for who you really want to be mayor at the top of your ballot, but you should also look at who seems to be among the 2, 3, 4 most likely winners and think about your preference among those candidates to put lower on your ballot if none of them are your favorites.
Okay. All right, Ben, thank you so much for explaining that.
We'll be right back with a look at what you missed this week on Good Day New York. But first, let's take a look at the weather for the week ahead. A delicious way to cool off the summer, and we'll need it this week, is with an ice pop, puras Pletas. Started in New Jersey, in a New Jersey kitchen just a few years ago. Last year, they were given a $26,000 grant on our show. Kurt and Rosanna went back to check in with the founder this week.
First, Pletas. Yeah. Pamela Beardsley is the owner. First of all, good to see you again.
Thank you so much.
Because we saw you last year, just about a year or so ago, when you came on Good Day New York. You were one of the recipients of a great $25,000 prize.
Yeah.
And what have you done with that?
So we had potential plans to do a food truck, and so we made it come to fruition. Very exciting winter project of ours. So this is our new baby.
So this is the food truck that you spent the money on?
Yeah, most of the money on, yeah.
Wait a second, did you see what she wrote behind her? Good Day New York.
All right, so tell us about, for those that didn't catch it last year, where the idea of the company came from and your ice pops, because they're special.
Sure. So when my son was younger, he had he was very lactose intolerant. And all of his little toddler friends, they all had allergies, whether it was peanut or soy or gluten. And it was just very frustrating as a mother on the playground with all of our friends not being able to get anything for our kids. So going back to my culture, my heritage, my love for organic and all natural foods, I decided to create in my kitchen some samples and bring it to the playground so my friends could have some, and then it kind of just blossomed and took off from there.
So all of this is, you can have it if you have allergies and lactose problems?
Yeah, absolutely. It's something we take great pride in, being able to offer almost everybody anything that we carry.
So last year we had your Pletas, which are, what are they, like ice fruit pops? How would you describe that?
So there's difference between a paleta and a popsicle ice pop. This is all made with natural fruit. There's no high fructose corn syrup. It's not watered down. In fact, last time I wished you had both tried one of our paletas, but it was turned into something completely different, which I'm very grateful for.
Okay. Well, she got the check instead. Yeah, it worked out.
Today, you'll be able to taste. It's
fantastic. And I see that you have other things. So let's talk. Are you expanding?
So yes, we offer for catering, and in the store we have mango nada, so it's a mango sorbet with fresh mango on top, a little sprinkle of chilito and chamoy sauce. Very traditional in Latin America, especially Mexico. We also make our own tres leches that we're very proud of. Everything is hand beat, hand blended, fresh whipped cream, and not too sweet. I don't know if you've ever had tried tres leches. I've gone places where it's either very milky or overly sweetened. I think hopefully you'll be able to try.
Okay.
And then we have our aguas frescas, hibiscus mint, and pink lemonade.
Okay, which one should we try first? Let's do the mango. Well,
okay.
Should we?
First of all, this is your little son that you were concerned
my
about.
My little son, yes. This is Jorge.
Jorge, nice to meet you.
He's 16 now. He's been helping us with the business since he was 12.
Thanks for being an inspiration to your mom, I'm sure.
And then this is the tres leches.
Oh, good. Did you get the ice cream? That's good.
Sorbet, you got to dig the mango on top, down to the mango sorbet.
It's a little salty and spice blended together. Yeah.
And that does it for us this morning on the Fox Local app. I'm Lisa Evers. Have a great day.